How you guys doing?
Great.
Hey Jay, Bishop Reed, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
It's full disclosure. We talked a little bit before the show, probably way too long. I'm sure we're driving the guys in the directors and everything crazy. But they are Yankee fans, Bishop.
Oh, really?
I
You didn't
just-
tell me that.
I just want to point that out.
Oh.
And we're going to be talking about temperaments.
That's a little problematic. I have a bad temperament now.
Yeah, mine is angry.
Yeah, I need a metanoia, I think, in my life.
Well, what are the four temperaments, and why should they matter to Catholics?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, four temperaments. Well, first, let me just break down what a temperament is. It's the physiological disposition of a person that actually kind of controls their reactionary response to certain stimuli. Okay, so like the different temperaments have different lengths of stimulus. Like they react.
It's length, speed, and duration
Yes,
are
thank
the
you.
three things
Yes.
that they have. And so they might react more intensely in terms of the intensity or kind of a little bit lower. They might have a longer response in terms of duration. And then the speed, the quickness to the reaction is the other piece.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very old personality test or assessment, if you will.
Yeah.
Before Christ, actually. So, yeah, why should Catholics care about it? Well, it has an effect on how we live in virtue. It has an effect on our relationships with others. And whenever people ask me, like, give me an abbreviated version of the temperaments, I'm always like, just remember these 4 P words: powerful choleric, popular sanguine, perfect melancholic, and peaceful phlegmatic.
Okay.
That's how you kind of can know which one you are.
Okay, so now listen. We bucked up, and Kevin and Victoria won. They both took the temperament quiz. Kevin is over on the news desk hiding. Victoria is the producer of the show, you know. So Kevin's temperament apparently is melancholic phlegmatic, which is probably better than phlegmatic. And Victoria is melancholic choleric. So tell us about how that all works out in the workplace, just for our sake.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good question too. Do you want to?
Well, so common disposition. So whenever we're talking temperaments, we're talking we're grouping underneath the temperament some common dispositions, some common habits of showing up, reacting, thinking, feeling, acting. And so one of the common ways that a melancholic will show up is they're a deep thinker. They're very passionate. They have a very rich interior life. Okay, so both of these people that we're talking about, they have that. They have a lot. There's a lot of inner dialogue that is going on. And again, when we talk about the reaction time, they're typically slow to react, but when they finally do react, it can be very intense and very passionate, right? So the melancholics are the people that you diss them and then they don't really respond to it. And then a couple of hours later, they're sitting there in the shower and they're going, that's what I should have said, right? And so they have that kind of response, but they've been stewing on it and thinking of it for a long time. And so just knowing that they have that is a really important thing for knowing how you can really love these people and work with these people well. If you want to create space for the melancholic to get the best out of them, you don't demand an immediate response out of them when you're inviting them to ponder something for the very first time. That's very triggering for them. And so if you're somebody like it's a choleric where it's just like, that's me, it's like, we got to get this stuff done, let's keep going. If that can kind of rub the wrong way, right? And so I've known that with the melancholics that I have on my team, that I need to create some of that space. And that's something I do very well as an extroverted choleric. I can create that space for them to kind of sit back and ponder so that they can really give a well thought out answer, which is often what I don't give with my quickness to respond. And so we can see a beautiful complementarity of these gifts, because sometimes you do need that immediate decisiveness of the choleric, and sometimes you do need the real well thought out response of the melancholic. And so they can really go well together. Now, the secondary dispositions that you brought up there, of the kind of the choleric and the melancholic, or excuse me, the phlegmatic. Phlegmatics will tend to focus more on prioritizing relationship on the team and making sure harmony and people are together, so they're very even keeled and you can't really ruffle them too much, right? The choleric may be tending that melancholic thinking power of them to figuring out how they can get something done. And so knowing that that choleric, secondary, and phlegmatic, the choleric may be geared more towards getting something done and accomplished, checking the boxes, and the phlegmatic, again, we're talking general senses here. One of the work that we do is helping people to identify the particular expressions of their temperament. That phlegmatic here might be a little bit more focused on how do we get the team working together rather than just getting things done.
Matt, I have to tell you something. You nailed it with Kevin. Wait, can we get to Kevin for 1 second? Kevin, there he is. Kevin, what do you think? I mean, that's you.
We'll shrink them.
Very good, yes.
That is you. Wow. So that's Kevin. So you could tell he's thinking about us going over to him, and he's going to come up with a response in a little while. But we'll let him go over there. So I've heard that Jesus had the perfect combination of all of the temperaments. That's got to be true.
Yeah. Oh yeah, certainly, because it is a physiological disposition. He had the perfect body. His body was completely subjugated to virtue and completely aligned with grace. And so it would make sense that he had the perfection of all of the strengths of each one of the temperaments as well. And so that's really our goal as Catholics, as humans, to kind of walk in his footsteps towards that.
Yeah, ultimately be conformed, having our physiology conformed to the spirit that's living within us.
So Matt and Erin, just quickly, we're almost out of time. How can our understanding of temperaments in ourselves and others help in relationships, friends, family, or at work?
So I love telling this story. We have friends of ours that have given us permission to share this. They're a couple. She's very sanguine, meaning she's very extroverted, outgoing, always loves going to the parties. He's a deep melancholic. And that type of environment can be somewhat exhausting for him. And I remember sitting down at dinner with them, and they were sharing just a little bit of struggles that they were having in their marriage. She was perceiving his kind of introvertedness and his sense of stewing and perhaps even the negative perceptions of things as something that was a barrier to connection. And he was seeing her always trying to cheer him up, again, as not accepting him where he was and not willing to love him where he was, and therefore a barrier to connection. Now, both of these people had the same common goal in mind. They wanted to connect with one another, but by their temperaments, they had different ways of going about that. And so when they could see that the person wanted to connect with them, they just had a different way of going about it, they could stop. It gave them permission to stop judging the other person as deliberately trying to sabotage the relationship, and it allowed them to kind of just reframe their approach to one another and the way that they saw one another as saying, okay, this person's just naturally inclined to go this way. I can see that, I can accept that, and it allowed them to have a better dialogue that brought them into the connection that they were seeking.
Yeah, we see that it helps build curiosity and compassion for others too, and also just self-awareness when you're approaching a relationship.
Yes, so this works for parents with their kids. This works for teachers with their students. It works for coaches with their clients, or spiritual directors with their directees. Whenever you're working with another person, when you know their temperament and you know yours and how they interact with one another, which is a lot of what the Catholic Coaching Podcast explores and our coaching explores, it really paves the way for an authentic relationship.
This is so interesting, and unfortunately we are out of time. Where can people find out more about your company, about the Catholic Academy? Where can people learn more about you? Because this is great stuff.
Yep, it's really easy, CatholicCoaching.com.
CatholicCoaching.com. Yeah, I can remember that one, so it's got to be easy.
Yeah, nobody knows how to spell metanoia, so we were just like, CatholicCoaching.com is the way to go. You can find more information on the Catholic Coaching Podcast. You can learn about our academy, which is where you can kind of join and learn a little bit more about your own temperament and your unique apostolic mission as well.
Well, you're 2 for 2 here, I'll tell you. You've got Victoria and Kevin down, so Bishop and I will have to take the quiz.
You guys are next.
We are next. Erin, Matt, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Bye,
God bless.
guys.